do you remember about Kal Ho Na Ho? Tell us.
Will I never live that down? I'm just a lazy actor.
ये सब जो है ना नजरिया है, और अगर इसके बारे में मैं इस हिसाब से सोचने लगा तो फिर मैं काम नहीं कर पाऊंगा।
कुछ भी करवा लो, स्टेज पे चढ़ने का मौका दे दो। आधी पोएम बोल देंगे, पेड़ बन के खड़े रह जाएंगे, एटलीस्ट कुछ तो कर लेंगे।
ओके, तो हम आज बात करने वाले हैं अबाउट थिएटर, जो बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है जो इन कमाल के आर्टिस्ट ने किया है। तो सबसे पहला सवाल जो है वो स्ट्राइक डाउन होने वाला है, व्हिच इज थिएटर में और फिल्म में क्या फर्क होता है? सो आई एम गोना स्टार्ट ऑफ विद, you know, not for seniority's sake, but if you don't mind, hotness sake, Lillete. Yeah, Lillete, sorry. I hope you're not offended in this woke generation.
Very offended.
Oh, come on, come on. Please talk to me about, is there such a thing as difference in the arts forms, which is theatre and cinema? Do you see it differently at all?
You mean in terms of performance?
Performance.
Of course, huge difference. Huge difference and huge similarities. Basically, whatever acting you do on whatever, in whatever form, and before we go into the differences, the one common, I think, thread is that what are you looking for when you're acting? You're looking to be truthful. That's it. To be truthful and to become. First be truthful and then become that character. So that is a basic given. Now, beyond that, when you portray that, there is a difference there. When you're performing on stage like this, I mean, you have to project, everything is bigger, everything is larger, and yet you have to hang on to the truth because that's very difficult. You have to sometimes be much subtler, but because you have to project, you lose nuances, you lose the kind of things you might be able to really do beautifully on screen. So the first thing I learned, for instance, when I did a film, and I started film at the ripe old age of 46. Woo! So there is hope for everybody. When I started one of my first films was Gadar, and I was, really recalibrating how to act on screen compared to theatre. And I think the first thing I learned is less is more, less is more on screen. The less you do, that you let your eyes speak, you let what is inside you speak. You don't have to do it in that big way. You literally have to do very, very little, extremely little. And your eyes are really very potent communicators on screen. And your voice, the way you modulate your voice. But the biggest lesson was that in theatre, we're so used to working together. I'm getting something from Sheeba, from Namit, from Pratik, on stage. There, very often, you are sometimes, and many times, performing in a vacuum. I was doing a scene where I had this emotional scene and the actor was not there. He could technically not be there. The shot was such that he could not look at me and give me the line. So I had to speak to the hair on the ear of the second AD because there was nobody else, the right look was for. So here I was emoting deeply and it was in a complete vacuum. So I had to recreate and create everything just on my own. I mean, there was nothing I was getting, literally nothing I was getting. So one is how to learn to do that, to be able to be convincing when you really have no co-actor, no eyes to connect to, no energy to connect to, nothing to connect to. And secondly, how to do very little and say a lot. So I think these are some very basic, fundamental differences. There are plenty. You could write a book about the difference between acting on screen and acting on stage. But sometimes I think it's good to come trained in cinema, but not having done theatre, in a way. Because, in a way, because it's a different medium. You learn on that medium. When we come from theatre, we have to unlearn some things. We have to. Of course we have to. But of course, if it was a choice, I would never give up the stage. It would be the stage always.
Thank you. How amazing. Just want to take, before I go to the next question, how many of us want to be actors here? Wow, that's a sizable number. That's fantastic. Great, then you need to listen and take notes, all right? I'm going to go to you, Pratik. Let's take that thread of unlearning. As someone, I've seen you, Mohan's Masala is one of the best things I watched a couple of years ago at the NCPA. Do you think that there is a switch, or is there an unlearning that you did when you do, television, or when you do OTT or cinema? Do you follow any of what Lillete just said?
Not exactly that there is anything that I had to unlearn, but what I had to learn new was that in theatre I had the live audience who's constantly helping me calibrate my performance while I'm performing, who's helping me understand whether it is reaching out there or not. And the next line that I can go back, I can do something so that I can understand and constantly be there with them. So film actually, gave me that challenge that I have to be a performer also and the audience at the same time and judge my own self when I am performing. Because once what is done, we'll just directly see the film now. So there are a lot of things that I'll have to imagine whether it will translate like this or not, whether it will land like this or not. So that is one thing which was very fascinating. The other thing is that in theatre we perform linearly the whole play, start to finish. So the entire, emotional journey of the character is there in your mind and you perform. Whereas in film, and especially in long formats like series and all, it is never linear. So like the first meeting with a girl is shot at the last day of the shoot. And the breakup is shot at the first day of the shoot. So that back and forth of the whole emotions is something that you have to learn. So there are a lot of new things that I learned with this different...
That's what I
yeah.
meant about
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Sheeba ji. Can we give a shout out to Sheeba ji? कितने फेवरेट हो यार हम चारों के चारों यार बहुत मोहब्बत है Can we show them the love and respect they deserve, please? I'm really humbled to be on this panel with each of you. Thank you so much. Sheeba ji, I want to ask you, auditions होते हैं अभी भी और ये सबसे पूछूंगी मैं एक के बाद एक. Auditions, I would assume that a Namit Do, a Lillete Dubey, a Sheeba Chaddha, Pratik Gandhi, इनको audition करने की जरूरत नहीं है ना? होनी नहीं चाहिए, है ना? होते हैं और कैसे होते हैं मुझे जरा बताइए.
तो I categorically deeply hate auditions. तो पहले तो ये तकलीफ है audition से. Having said that, I think every creator, director is well within his or her right to want an audition, है ना? एक सही चीज़ है, उसमें गलत कुछ नहीं है. I'm just a lazy actor and I hate being put to test, so I hate auditions. Thankfully, at this point in life, by grace, I'm not asked to do auditions, except if it's a foreign project, because they will ask for auditions. I just did one and I got it. Something very exciting coming for that. But thankfully, even for ads is one space as actors you would know. Audition is like, because clients normally have no imagination, so they need to see you in that thing. But thankfully, now one's not even called for ad auditions. I'm just very happy about that. Yeah, I don't like auditions. Yeah. It's a difficult space, I think, for most actors.
Recently, I mean, if you saw him in Rocky and Rani, I think he deserves a little bit of love for that. That was an amazing role. Now, मैं थोड़ा सा controversial सवाल पूछूंगी, है ना?
Go for it.
क्योंकि आप दोस्त हो.
Rohini, you and me were always made for controversy. आ जाओ मैदान में.
ठीक है, तो मुझे ये बात बताओ कि जब एक बड़ा ही सक्षम एक्टर होता है, ओके, बहुत ही कमाल का एक्टर होता है, अपने थिएटर के क्षेत्र में नंबर 1 है, उससे बेहतर एक्टर नहीं है, and then when you enter, the arena of cinema, there you are, and you're often relegated to parts which may not be main parts, they might be important parts, they might be crucial parts, but they may not be the typical star part. How do you negotiate that in your head? Because acting wise तो तुम और रणवीर दोनों बराबर हो मेरे हिसाब से. मैंने बहुत देखा आपको एक्ट करते.
ये सब जो है ना नज़रिया है, और अगर इसके बारे में मैं इस हिसाब से सोचने लगा तो फिर मैं काम नहीं कर पाऊंगा. और अगर मैं किसी भी सेट हो जाए या स्टेज हो जाए, अगर मैं ये सोच के घुसूं कि मतलब मैं यहाँ पे इस वेट के साथ आ रहा हूँ कि मैं बहुत ज़बरदस्त एक्टर हूँ और अब मैं यहाँ पे फोड़ने वाला हूँ, तो आई डोंट थिंक आई विल बी एबल टू डू इट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, बिकॉज आई एम गुड until my last job. Whenever we start a new project, you have to just start the process from zero. And coming to your question, that you go on a set and you just do your job. That's it. And किसी ने कहा था कि there are no small roles, there are no small parts. वो वाली जो saying है, वो आप कह दीजिए. वो काफ़ी लोगों को, एक्टर को जो है कही जाती है जब एक्टर की एक लाइन होती है, 2 लाइन होती है, तो ये ज़रूर कहा जाता है कि तुम अच्छा करो. But the truth is actually you have to just believe in what you are doing, and you have to be that horse who has to wear ये लाइन्स पहन के बिल्कुल जो है ना, आदमी को बस अपना रोल देखना पड़ता है और अपना काम करना पड़ता है, and you have to be out. Because if you get too bogged down with whether I can do this part or not, or you know what, I would have done that better, then you are actually doing disservice to yourself. So you have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in whatever you're given, and just make the most out of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yes, that deserves an applause. Thank you. But there was that phase where it was गदर, और ये 90s के बच्चे तो देख नहीं रहे, तब आप ख्याल होंगे, लेकिन जो 90s के बच्चे हैं उनको याद है. There was some of these movies where suddenly we saw lots of women and we were very excited. So there was Gadar and there was Kal Ho Na Ho, which was a very memorable part. Oh my God. Woo! Talk to me about that part. Do you remember that part? Do you remember that audition? Do you remember going to New York and filming for it? Oh, no audition this time.
No audition, darling.
What do you remember about Kal Ho Na Ho? Tell us.
What? Will I never live that down?
कभी नहीं छोड़ेगा आपको.
कभी नहीं, कल हो ना हो.
All right, I'll change the film. Auntie Rose. Auntie Rose, श्याम बेनेगल साहब की फिल्म थी, जुबैदा फिल्म का नाम था. उस फिल्म में मुझे याद है आंटी रोज की वजह से जुबैदा की जिंदगी बदल जाती है. Do you remember something that you did in that film that challenged you?
If I say this, I will sound so horribly arrogant and terrible, because honestly, all the challenging that has been thrown at me is only on stage. I hear from Shama Zaidi, and I hear from Rajit Kapoor, and I hear from XYZ that, oh my God, you have such a beautiful role in, Sham Babu's next film. I said, which film? He said, Zubeidaa. I said, what's the role? You're playing Auntie Rose. It's such a delight. And Rajit said, I don't know, I would die to do that role. So I said, okay, it must be very nice. And everybody's telling me about this role. That sounds terrible, that I didn't audition or anything. And then finally, after about 6 people had told me, I said, I have to call Shyam Babu. I knew him slightly. And I said, it's so embarrassing. I called him and I said, Shyam Babu, I am extremely embarrassed to ask you this question, but by chance, am I doing anything in your new film? And he said, my dear, of course you are. You're playing Auntie Rose. And I said, I think there's one slight problem. Sir, you've forgotten to tell me. He said, what? I said, yeah, you didn't tell me I'm doing this role. Come to my office immediately. So I went there and he said, would you, I'll never forget, he was my first director, would you do me the honor, Lillete, of playing Auntie Rose in Zubeidaa? And I said, of course. He said, what about the money? Don't you want to know? I said, I don't care. I'm working with you. So that's the beginning of my film career. And it's always been like that. There is no seeking, there is no running after. Whatever came. And where auditions are concerned, in theatre I was very spoiled. I was never auditioned by Barry. And when I came into cinema, the roles just came like this. So only one film, which was The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, was a film I wanted to do. And he's such a wonderful director. He directed Shakespeare in Love. I mean, such a fantastic track record, John Madden. That when I got a message that you'll have to audition, and he had asked every senior actress in India, and I said, chalo, this one I have to go and audition. So I went and auditioned, and like her, I said, please, Lord, rakh lena. Let me see, I hope I get the role. And luckily I got the role. But if it's a part you really want, I would still audition, if it was a part I was dying to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but like her, I hate auditions. I simply hate them. I just feel now you've done a body of work, you should be able to assess what Namit can do, what Pratik can do. You've seen them. You've seen their look, you've seen their performances. And if you're a really good director, but I understand the producers. The funniest about an audition, I'll tell you, was Monsoon Wedding. Monsoon Wedding, you guys have seen Monsoon, right? So, Meera Nair, old friend of mine from theatre in Delhi when she was 16, she calls me and says, I want to take Neha in my film. I said, okay. So we fly down to Delhi and we're having lunch at the Habitat. And she's telling this whole story. And I said, hello, 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 hello. Who's playing Pimmi, the mother? I haven't cast it yet. I'm just thinking about it. I said, how dare you sit across me and say you haven't cast it? What am I doing here? She said, would you play it? I said, of course I'd play it. But she said, no, you're too slim, too sexy. You can't play a Punjabi mama. So I said, says who? So I said, you worked with me in theatre so long, you don't trust me that I could make myself look like a Punjabi mama. My producers won't believe it. We have a big discussion. And she said, no, I don't think you can swing it. And finally, after a week, she said, okay, you will pad yourself some 15 kilos and make yourself look much bigger. And of course, Nasil was terrible. He used to always tell me, "Arey aise hi ban jao. Aise bahut achhi lagti ho moti." So that's the time I kind of auditioned for a part because I really wanted it. So yes, if I really died to do something, I would do it. I'd do whatever is required. As Mammootty once told me, he did a film with me, he said, I'm a very greedy actor. I want to do everything that I like. So I'm a very greedy actress.
Sheeba ji, I want to ask you this. Our panel is called Winging It, Mastering the Art of Improv as Actors. Let's come back to that. In today's day and age, where there is a studio and there is, producers and there's scripts and there's writers' rooms, काफी मतलब क्या बोलते हैं एक प्रोफेशनल हो गया है सब कुछ. अब ऐसे माहौल में 90s में अक्सर मैंने सुना है बहुत सारे लोगों से कि हम बस जाते थे, सतीश कौशिक और कादर खान होते थे वहां पर और वो लिख देते थे सीन वहां पर कर देते थे, खड़े खड़े वो सीन्स कर देते कैमरा पर. In today's day and age, when you have so much of bound script coming to you, approvals, all of that, is there a space for an actor to improvise at all? As actors with so much of experience and knowledge, what can you still bring to the page?
The page is the page. I think any actor, anyways, I hope, intends to bring more to the page than the page. Right? I mean, that's the thing. Then the space for improv.
I'm very glad we get bound scripts, yeah. That's very nonsensical to land up on a set and have some rubbish pushed in your face, right? Improv, I feel in today's time, I mean, I'm not even sure that's the appropriate word as to what we do when we land up on a set. Our idea is not कि मैं improv कैसे कर लूँ. The idea is how can I make this page rise, do my work in a way that I can add something literally in between the lines. That's it. That's my job as an actor. They've done their job in writing the page. So then how I'm going to make the page come alive, along with, of course, the cinematographer, with the director, is my job. And there's always scope for that, yeah? Unless it's a really badly written page, which I think always deters an actor. But if the page is a well-written page, I think there's immense scope for actors to bring something, to brighten, to enliven the page. That's, for lack of a better word, the improv. I'm not sure it's the right word in cinema's context, really.
Because, I mean, I'm glad you said that because, this might throw people off as a title. There is improv, which is improv comedy. जहाँ पर लोग एक पूरा art form है, जहाँ पर you make something out of nothing. The other is, of course, improvising, where you come in and you try and make something better as actors. And today what we're talking about is more generic, I would say. We're opening it up to being how do masters of the craft in two mediums, bring a marriage to the mediums. I'd like to, change the name of this panel a little bit, if you don't mind. Pratik, I want to ask you this. And I have a very, very important question to ask you because हम सब के मतलब सिनेमा के जो बच्चे हैं, हमारे भगवान का नाम है मार्टिन स्कॉर्सेज़ी, है कि नहीं? हाल ही में उनका एक क्लिप मैंने देखा और मैंने कहा सर सही बोल रहे हैं मार्टिन स्कॉर्सेज़ी। उन्होंने कहा कि कंटेंट क्या होता है भाई, आर्ट बनाने के लिए आए हैं। तो वी हैव रिड्यूस्ड द आर्ट फॉर्म of acting, of making cinema movies to a commercial term, which is content. Having said that, we're in the age of what they call the golden era of content, whatever that may be. Content but no content, I guess. Okay. OTT में कहते हैं कि बहुत सारी opportunities हैं, हर actor को मौका मिल रहा है. But कहीं ना कहीं, do you think it's a problem of plenty? Because it's a smoke screen or a mirage that everybody gets great more work. At all? Does this resonate with you?
Yeah, so there are suddenly, you know, a lot of scripts. There are suddenly a lot of calls, mails, and work where you are asked to select something out of menu, and that actually, you know, puts a lot of people in a different situation. That अरे बहुत है यार, बहुत है, इसमें से क्या क्या कर लें. तो एक तो सबसे पहली चीज़, as actors, like mostly actors are very hungry to do something new, to constantly work and all. But at the same time, वो जो रह जाने की भावना है ना कि अरे मैंने नहीं किया तो कोई तो कर लेगा, तो मैं तो कर ही लूँगा, ये वाला भी बहुत सारे लोग बेचारे फेस करते भी हैं. एंड आई नो बिकॉज वी हैव बीन इन द डिफरेंट साइड फॉर द लॉन्गेस्ट टाइम, लाइक फ्रॉम लास्ट 16 years दैट आई वाज कॉन्स्टेंटली वेटिंग कभी एक ऐसा मौका मिले. तब ऐसा था कि सिलेक्शन का ऑप्शन ही नहीं था, कुछ भी करवा लो, स्टेज पे चढ़ने का मौका दे दो, आधी पोएम बोल देंगे, पेड़ बन के खड़े रह जाएंगे, एटलीस्ट कुछ तो कर लेंगे, तो दूसरे प्ले में आप कुछ और करवा लोगे. सिमिलरली स्क्रीन के लिए भी ऐसी ही भूख थी. अब जब ऐसी इतनी सारी ऑप्शंस हैं, सो आई गेस दैट सैनिटी समवेयर शुड बी देयर कॉन्स्टेंटली इन योर माइंड, दैट वेयर यू कैन रिलेट योर सेल्फ टू द कैरेक्टर इन द वर्ल्ड, वेयर यू फील यू कैन ब्रिंग समथिंग टू द टेबल इज वॉट यू शुड डू. बाकी करने के लिए कर लेंगे, बट देन यू विल डू डिसर्विस टू योर ओन करियर. फॉरगेट अबाउट द होल वर्ल्ड ऑफ एंटरटेनमेंट, मतलब उतना ब्रॉड ना भी सोचो. Just be a little selfish, but you will not do anything good to your career by doing anything.
You know, I remember the time when Scam came out, and big hand for Scam, come on! Woo! अजीब वक्त था, हम सब घर में थे और सारे जो न्यूज़ चैनल वाले थे वो चिल्ला रहे थे, you know, लोगों को दोषी ठहरा रहे थे. एक तरफ नेपोटिज्म के खिलाफ, you know, बहुत सारी आवाज़ें उठ रही थी, और दूसरी तरफ प्रतीक गांधी जो है वो बन गए हमारे सुपरस्टार. आपको याद है? एंड वी वर लाइक यस, प्रतीक गांधी इज द आंसर टू नेपोटिज्म. कहां से आया ये बंदा, कौन है ये? याद है कि नहीं आपको? ओह माय गॉड, इट वाज अमेजिंग. एंड कट टू टुडे, आई एम सीइंग द सेम पर्सन हु प्लेड हर्षद मेहता इन स्कैम. वो कितने चूजी किया उसके बाद. कहां सर, मतलब हमको भी देते रहो ना कंटेंट. अभी हम तो बैठे और पैकमैन की तरह हंग्री. Where's your next performance? We want to see what are you up to? I'm sure all fans of Pratik Gandhi want to know. हम सारे NDO को माफ कर दो, बता दो, because we're waiting, we're hungry.
नहीं, मैं कोई इतना चूजी बन के नहीं बैठा हूँ. इनफैक्ट जितना आया उसमें से टाइम ने जितना परमिट किया उतना कर भी लिया. अब कुछ रिलीज हो, मैं भी उसी का वेट कर रहा हूँ यार. बनाते हुए तो सबने बोला बना लेते हैं, पर अब रिलीज करने के लिए उनके पास भी जवाब नहीं है. सो आई गेस दैट एवरीबडी इज फाइंडिंग अ करेक्ट टाइम टू रिलीज कपल ऑफ थिंग्स. सो फिल्में हैं, कुछ शोज़ हैं, तो मैं भी वेट कर रहा हूँ यार कि मैं कब, मतलब क्योंकि वो आएगा तो और वापस दूसरे मेल्स आएंगे.
नामित, मुझे बताओ कि थिएटर करने में क्या खुशी मिलती है? मतलब बहुत करते हैं आप, ऑफ कोर्स यू नो कॉन्स्टेंटली बीइंग वॉच्ड, whether it's films like Rocky Rani, whether it's Arya, whether it's, you know, OTT, all of that. But थिएटर क्यों करते हो नमित दास, बताओ मुझे.
मैं एक्चुअली थिएटर अभी नहीं करता. और मैंने बहुत सालों से कुछ नाटक नहीं किया है. सिर्फ एक ही नाटक करता हूँ, मॉनसून वेडिंग म्यूजिकल, जो मुझे अलग अलग देशों में लेके जाता है और वह बहुत अच्छे एक्सपीरियंस देता है. पर थिएटर हम क्यों करते हैं, ये मैं कई बार पूछता था अपने आप से, लेकिन इसका जवाब मुझे रोहिणी नहीं मिला है. पर जवाब एक्चुअली उसी चीज़ में, उसी मोमेंट में छुपा होता है जब आप एक्चुअली स्टेज पे होते हो और जिस दिन अच्छा शो होता है, वो जो फीलिंग होती है ना, आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी इट्स वेरी स्पेशल. इट्स रियली अ स्पेशल फीलिंग, एंड आई गेस फॉर दैट स्पेशल फीलिंग and essentially the difference, I mean, we come back to the difference between theatre and cinema. सिनेमा दैट वे फॉर एन एक्टर, मतलब आप सोचिए कि यहाँ पे मैं खड़ा हूँ और मैं एक्टिंग कर रहा हूँ और एक कैमरा एक डेड सी चीज़ मुझे देखे जा रही है। आप उसी को बदल दीजिए, मैं यहाँ पे खड़ा हूँ और मैं कुछ कर रहा हूँ और मैं वो चीज़ महसूस कर रहा हूँ और साथ में ऑडियंस भी वो सेम चीज़ महसूस कर रही है। तो वो जो जहन में वो मेमोरी में जिस तरह से वो चीज़ the things that you know experience, I don't think you can experience that on camera. So yeah, maybe
Wonderful.
that is the reason why I do theater, we do theater, I guess.
Recommend a piece of theater. Okay, हम मुंबई में रहते हैं. We are privileged to have, you know, venues like Prithvi Theatre, like the NCPA, now, you know, NMACC, world class. Okay, performances are happening on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. उस थिएटर के बारे में मैं आपको एक चीज बताती हूँ. अक्सर लोग कहते हैं कि ऑडियंस जो है उन्हें साथ देना होता है. तो आज हमें लगता है कि जितने भी हमारे दोस्त यहाँ बैठे, make it a point. Okay, you want to walk into a theater and watch a performance of anybody. Would you recommend a piece of theater that you have probably done and that you love doing, and another piece of theater that you watch that you can recommend to our audience?
If ever, I mean, the piece that I have done, I think Stories in a Song, I really enjoy.
I love that.
I really enjoy it a lot. I think it brought back music to the Mumbai theatre space, live music that way. And we've had lots of fun doing that show. That show has traveled and now it has so many memories and so many songs and so many things which, you know, come back to me when I talk about it. So that's one piece which I really love doing. I recently saw a play called Jubilee, directed by Saurabh Nair, and I recommend it to everyone because it's so much fun. And in fact मुझे हबीब साहब के नाटकों की बिल्कुल जो है याद आ गई. एंड मैं जब थिएटर से निकला तो मैं बहुत खुश निकला और मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मैं बहुत दिनों के बाद खुश हूँ. तो प्लीज़ वॉच दैट प्ले व्हेनेवर इट हैपेंस एनीवेयर.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आपका. Lillete ji, for you, what would you recommend, and one piece of theatre that you've been part of that you're very proud of?
Well, a play of mine that has been running for a very long time is special to me. I don't say it's one of the best things I've done or the best roles I've done. It has a different connotation. It was my first original play that my company produced, directed, and it was a very difficult and different direction that we took because we used to do plays that were already written, you know, by wonderful playwrights abroad. So I set up a company to basically produce and platform original writing in English, Hindi, whatever. It could be Marathi originally, Tendulkar, Mahesh Kunchwar. So for me, this play was special because we took this risk hai to ishq hai, and we did a play called Dance Like a Man, which has done 675 shows now across 5 continents. And I don't know how many, 50 cities, and it works everywhere, everywhere. I don't know why. It's a mystery to me, but it's very special. I produced it, I directed it, I act in it, and I have a fabulous set of actors in it. So that's special. I don't think it's my best play, but it's very, very close to my heart. In terms of other people's work, there are lots of people's work I love, and I've enjoyed. A play, I don't know why, it stayed very strongly with me because to me, a very powerful script is something that is not very common. I see wonderful things, new, original work. I see wonderful plays, beautifully performed. I love Stories in a Song. I love many, many plays. I didn't see Pratik's play. I heard he was fabulous. I mean, I just love theatre. I love plays. So I love everything. But a play that struck me a lot, I was on the jury of Meta and I had seen it and I really wanted to give it the best prize, was a play called Mukti Dhan. Mukti Dham is a play written by Abhishek Majumdar. Yes? Wonderful play. Wonderful, absolutely. You know, it said so many things. It was set in 6th or 7th century India, in ancient India, but it was making a dig about everything political, socio-political, in such a clever way. And I love Kumud Mishra, he was in it, and a lot of people who I like were in it. What a script. What a script. You know, when a play says something from different points of view, and each of them is equally valid. And you don't know what's right, what's wrong. He's right, she's right, he's right. Where does the truth lie? Those are the plays that really get me. They're so rich in their text, they're so layered. So Mukti Dham was a play that really stayed with me.
Thank you for the recommendation. Sheeba.
If for my own work, I would say I'm going to say two. It's a play called The Blue Mark, which is directed by Atul Kumar, which because it's just hugely personal. It's a devised piece of work, which I love working that way. Improv, and the second one is because I bow down to that man. It's Rehan Engineer. His play I did called Far Away by Carol Churchill. So these two amazing for me. And the play to watch, oh my God, is this performer who I think in today's day and age is the most, if I had to say, the purest, you know, she's a theatre purist. Her name is Jyoti Dogra, and a play called Mass, which any work of hers actually, just any work of hers. It's insane, her work, I think. And what she brings, the nakedness and truth that she brings with the utter refinement of craft. Yeah, Notes on Chai. And then she did one Black Hole. But her latest play is Mass. Please go and see. And I'm going to say one more, which is a play called Hunkaro by Mohit Takalkar. Yeah, that's like insanely amazing piece of work. Yeah.
Thank you, Shivati. Thank you so much. Pratik.
So, मैं तो चाहता हूँ मेरे सारे प्ले देखना हो क्योंकि एक और चीज़ ऐड करता हूँ मैं कि स्कैम करने के बाद लोगों ने मेरे प्ले देखना शुरू किया ज़्यादा.
That's true. That's true.
तो पहले बहुत बुरा लगता था कि यार मतलब थिएटर पे लाने के लिए कुछ और करना पड़ेगा जब जाके लोग थिएटर पे आएंगे. बट फिर सोचा कि कुछ भी करके अगर थिएटर में लोग आते हैं तो करना चाहिए. So, मेरे जो प्लेज मैं अभी फ्रीक्वेंटली बहुत शोज कर रहा हूँ उसका वन ऑफ देम इज मोहन्स मसाला एंड हूँ चंद्रकांत बख्शी. दीज आर बोथ मोनोलॉग्स ऑफ 105 minutes. So whenever you get a chance, please come for those shows. And recently I saw another play again directed by Manoj Shah, which is Bombay Flower, which is on Mrs. Jinnah, Ratanbai Petit. Bombay Flower. And I loved that play. It's a brilliant research to work, and the way they created those emotions of Ratanbai Petit and the way it is shown. I guess I love that play, so I highly recommend it whenever they have show.
Thank you so much. It's so rich to do this, you know, at this. I mean, very selfishly, मुझे भी जानना था. But I hope सबका फायदा हुआ है.